Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel of blockchain, right? We are trying to learn blockchain and today's topic is consensus mechanism. This consensus mechanism is a backbone of this blockchain, right? Why we are calling it as blockchain? Because without consensus there is nothing in blockchain. You can't add a single node, you can't add a single block into the blockchain. So let's see why consensus mechanism is important and how it needs to be go through, correct? So before we'll get into the consensus, we need to understand why consensus is important and why mining I am bringing in now to relate to the consensus, right? So consensus is what? Consensus, if you will just try to understand a single word of consensus, this is called as approval, correct? Consent from the people, consent from the miners who are involved within the network of blockchain, right? So what is the mining process? What miners are doing? Miners are creating transactions and creating blocks to add into the blockchain, right? So they are confirming transactions every time. And the people who are doing those transactions into the blockchain network are called as miners, which we can see here, right? Miners. Now, when we add the transactions into the miners are also having a different type of things. So how it will be? Miners can be an individual person. Mining can be a pool of people who are sitting together and doing the mining, and it could be a cloud mining, right? So we are able to see the three types of mining processes. And when we are using a blockchain mining, what is this meant for? We are trying to validate the transactions. Miners are trying to confirm the transactions, and they are creating a safe channel for everyone to do the mining process. Maybe a dollar transactions, right? Or transactions with the blockchain where we are mining the cryptocurrency. You are able to understand, right? So mining is a direct consensus where miners are actually helping each other to create a safe channel to add into the network, right? Now let's deep dive into the consensus mechanism. As we already discussed, right, we are trying to verify and validate the transaction. So what it is happening? So this is type of transactions we are doing. This is a state of the network. So consensus mechanism is a technique where we are trying to attain the status of the network as a confirmation from the multiple people, right? So multiple people will not be like you will just take 2 3 people and 5 people, minors and other things. No. So consensus means we are taking an approval, a consent from the minors who are engaged within the group to give us the confirmation, right? They are validating the transactions and we are good to go ahead and add into the public or private network, private blockchain, right? It ensures the verification validation of the information. The consensus algorithm securely updates the blockchain data without the need of the intermediary, right? So consensus is an approval. It's a thumb rule, right? Now we need to understand that why consensus mechanism is important and what are the main objectives to solve from this. What we are trying to solve? We are trying to prevent double spending. We are trying to achieve unified agreement, fair and equitable, economic incentives, fault tolerance, right? So these are the main key objectives where we are trying to solve from consensus mechanism. If you will try to understand how many types, see, consensus is multiple types of consensus mechanism available. If you have seen in my previous videos, I have already talked about proof of work. What I have to, when I have talked about proof of work, whenever I am talking about Bitcoin is using a consensus mechanism as proof of work, this one, right? At the same time, we have multiple consensus algorithms available in general, like proof of stake, delegated proof of stake, proof of capacity, activity, elapsed time, Benjamin fault tolerance, proof of authority. These are some of the consensus mechanisms which are widely known into the blockchain, right? Now let's take an example. I'm trying to give you an example so that you can think through why consensus is important. I'm just giving you an image where these are the miners, right? These blue boxes. Now what is happening in this distributed network? These miners are creating blocks, right? Now you can see this, there are 4 blocks into the blockchain which is added into a chain, and everybody in the network has the same blockchain. So this is the thumb rule, right? There is a transparency and trust that everybody will have the same information. It's very transparent. So every node or we can say every miner has the same blockchain information right now. Suppose what happened, this miner has mined a block, fifth block. That person, this miner mined the block and it needs to be added into a blockchain. So what will happen, this miner, but it is not available here, correct? So this miner need to send an information to all the miners added into the network that there is another block has been mined. So these miners need to validate and gives a thumbs up that they are ready to accept this transaction, this block into a blockchain, so that this can be added into a proper public or private blockchain and can be added as a new block, correct? Until unless everybody is satisfied and gives the validation criteria, this block cannot be added into a chain. So this is called a simple terminology, this is called as a consensus mechanism. I hope you are able to understand the consensus mechanism. In my upcoming videos, I will take proof of work, proof of stake, proof of capacity like this in an individual video so that you can understand that how the proof of work works and how the other mechanism works with the real time scenarios, right? So thank you so much for watching. Keep continue learning. I will come up with another video in some time. Thank you so much.